Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to take our prep pages and create a few journaling spreads. So in today's video, I thought it'd be fun to show you how to start kind of layering on top of the pages that we prepped last week and show you how to create full spreads. So here I'm just going to pull out my little insert so that we can work more freely and more comfortably. And my supplies are just some swatches that I put together this week. I got a few new watercolor palettes that I wanted to try out, a new paper, and then some of the same papers that we used during our previous video, and also some pictures that I had printed out previously in the hopes that I would have some time to sit and just start journaling. So the first spread we're going to work on is on these two pages, and I had printed some pictures that I found on Pinterest about cherry blossom season in Korea. I am obsessed with cherry blossom season. I think it's because I live down south and the cherry blossoms are not a thing down here in Florida. They just don't flower here. Something about it being too humid. So I really miss them because I used to live up north. That's where I grew up, and I used to be able to enjoy cherry blossom season, but that is no longer the case. So this is my way of sort of celebrating the season without actually being there, and then also being super jealous of all the beautiful cherry blossom trails over there in Seoul, South Korea. And I'm just going to go ahead and find a place for these two pictures here in my two pages and just write a little blurb about how it's my bucket list item for later on sometime in the future for me to go visit. And next up we have our second spread, and here I did prep this with you all in my previous video last week, which I will link up here so that you guys can go watch it if you haven't already. But I added a little bit of metallic watercolor after the fact, just because it looked a little plain and I wanted to sort of have little cute details like this that could pop out behind pictures if I were to put pictures. And so I think that these two pictures would be perfect here. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting them out. And a little bit of background on the two pictures. I have a very beloved, I would call it beloved because I truly love this tree. I have a lavender crepe myrtle tree in my front yard, and we got it as a little tiny sapling, and it's like evolved and grown over the years. And this year was a little different because my neighbor, who was a very experienced gardener, would help us every year to trim it. And we didn't know that there was a specific way to trim a tree, so we were definitely schooled by her. I think because of her skill is why the tree has thrived thus far. But this year, she was not our neighbor anymore. They moved away last year. So we kind of had to look it up on YouTube and sort of figure it out for ourselves, and it turned out okay. So I think this is a lesson in just don't be afraid to try, do your research and just go ahead and try, and things will work out in the end. It's better than doing nothing. Apparently it gets like fungus if the branches are not trimmed, and I'm giving you guys a lesson on crepe myrtles, but they have these little branches that kind of grow inwards towards the tree, and it traps moisture, and it could like end up causing rot. So just a little thing about crepe myrtles, they're high maintenance, but they're very beautiful, and the blooms last for a very long time, and so we're just happy that it's thriving. And so this is what this spread is about. So here's our third spread, and I really didn't have a clue as to what I wanted to do here because I didn't really prep both pages, I just put in that butterfly and a little bit of paper scraps on the right side. But here I have a bunch of like rainbows that I made simply to swatch out these metallic watercolors that I had lying around, and I just wanted to see how pigmented they were. And also I had gone to Five Below, which is like, it's kind of like, I want to say a Dollar Tree, but things are like $5 and below, obviously, because that's what it's called. But they have art supplies, and they had watercolor paper. But most importantly, for those of you that do watercolor, they have the 300 GSM watercolor paper, which is the nice thick one. And I wanted to try it out, so this is me using that paper to try it out. And then I had similar paper but more expensive paper that I bought on Amazon, and so I wanted to see really, like, is there a difference, because the thickness is the same, but is it like gonna hold the color better or anything like that? Because if not, then I'm just gonna buy mine at Five Below. But there was a difference. The Five Below paper kind of muted the colors, kind of made them a little dull, while the obviously more expensive paper had like a rougher texture, and the colors were really bold and saturated. So I guess for practicing, like if you have like a beginner set of watercolors and you just want to practice, I would say the Five Below paper is fine. It just doesn't have as rough a texture, and it doesn't like absorb the water as well as like the other paper that I got on Amazon, which is like a cotton paper, which I can link both of them down below. I think Five Below has a website, but if not, then obviously just find your closest Five Below, they'll have them there. But yeah, I just wanted to cut out some of these rainbows, kind of do a little montage here, nothing too crazy. I also had like these Tim Holtz word stickers, like these what do they call those, like the quote stickers, which I love to use them in a lot of different things. I especially love like the spooky ones, but these are just like the regular ones that are always on sale. So I just created something really quick with that, and I didn't want my swatches to go to waste. And so that's just another fun idea. If you are someone who likes to play with paint or art or make art paper, that's another great way to display it, is in your junk journal. Also, I just didn't like the map background, so I went ahead and used some of my leftover hand lettering paper, art paper that I made, and I'm going to use that as a background instead. I feel like it's not as harsh as like the lines of that map paper. So other than that, I'm just going to put that all together and create a cohesive piece. So here in this final spread, I wanted to create sort of a reference guide to my current watercolor palettes that I swatched out. And I kind of went overboard with the swatching, but it was super fun and I was testing out new materials. So I feel like I shouldn't just trash it, you know, or like just keep it somewhere hidden. I feel like they should be displayed because the colors are really pretty. So I'm gonna do that here. I have some of the metallic watercolors that I swatched on the expensive paper, which I think is called Stonehenge, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then I have the Five Below paper, and on that one I swatched just like my student grade watercolors, like the Windsor and Newton palettes that I have, and then I have like a Prima palette. So that's what I'm going to do here. And I had these little roses that I was practicing with the metallic watercolor. I was just curious to see what they would look like and what they would come out like, and they came out pretty cute. So I'm going to use that to sort of decorate the corners here, and then just leave some space so that I can actually write a little bit of background information about the swatches. So here we are at the final stages of our video. I'm going to do a quick recap so you guys can see all the spreads that we completed. And if you didn't hear in the beginning, This is just a follow-up video to last week's video about how I prep pages, and so this is showing you kind of like the things that you can do with those prep pages. I think that adding layers to your journal really personalizes it and makes it quirky and fun and just happy and like all the good vibes. So this is definitely my favorite way of journaling, but let me know down in the comments what your favorite way of journaling is. I'd love to hear. And if you didn't read my announcements, I am changing my upload date to Sunday mornings. I hope that you guys can join me. We have been doing live chats during the premiere of the video, so that's been fun. But again, I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!